Hey, affirmation. So I got an order for some penguin eye mask. So here I am setting it up on my Bernina really, and choosing the right size for the order. The Bernina does take a little while to load and unload, and then it was asking me to reduce the size, so I reduced it so that it'll fit into the hoop that I have. And with the Bernina, this is one of the embroidery machines that hoops to the back. So you see me reaching around just trying to get it in there and hook it in. So now that I do, I set the first layer of fleece. And since it's a penguin, I did black. But you can choose any color that you want, but she chose the black and white. So you see me do it, and I cut the fleece down to size so that it doesn't be too heavy for the embroidery machine arm to move. Then I just do my placement stitch, or it's really supposed to be a tack down stitch for the first one, and then you're supposed to put it down. But I always use that first placement stitch to put my fabric on, because then I know it's in the right spot and I don't have to worry about well, actually, it's just in the right spot. And I don't have to worry about it moving around or the fleece getting too short or too little for the design, because sometimes I've done that where I've missed like a tiny piece of the corner and had to restart. So I just use that placement stitch to be my starting point too. So right now it's going to go around it again, so I'm about to skip that step and move on to the next step, which of course is going to be the main focus, which is going to be the penguin eyes. So I stitched a placement stitch for that, and again, same thing. This one I'm just going to stitch it down. I actually will stop my machine, rewind it back to that stitch, put the fabric on top of it, and restitch that same thing again. So as you can see, I'm getting the white fleece ready to lay down on top of there. This one is a more fluffy fleece. So I will be placing a water soluble with this one, just so that the stitches won't sink into the design and you can't really see it. So with most fleece, it's like a good rule of thumb to use some water soluble sterilizer, but as you can see, it's a nice piece, thick piece of fleece fabric. I want the design, not the design, I want the wearer to have a nice soft feel when they put the sleep mask on. And y'all see I'm using little baby scissors. I have bigger scissors, so I don't know why I'm using those little baby scissors, but I am. But those are the scissors that I'll be using to trim the fabric once I'm done. So again, I don't know why I'm using those little baby scissors, but it is what it is. It's how I roll. But once I get that cut out, we will do another tack down stitch, and I will have the water soluble stabilizer put on top of it. I do love this like minky. It's like a minky fleece, that one. And like I said, it's just, I like the customers to have like a comfort when you're wearing them and not have the harder fleece fabric. There I go, my water stabilizer and water soluble, so it just washes off. So even if there's a little bit of residue left on there later, you just can get a little bit of water and wipe the rest of it off. But now I'm laying it over the whole design, and I'm just about to tack my stitch down and tack it in place. Once that's in place, I run it twice because I'm gonna have to cut out the extra fabric, and just doing it twice again, it just makes it more secure. It'll last longer, and it just gives me peace of mind knowing that it is secured as best as I could get it. So you see me babysitting my machine just to make sure it goes around right, because it was a little bit of thicker fabric, and I usually don't put that on my Bernina. I would put it on a different embroidery machine, but this one I cut it a little close. As you can see, that little edge right there, that's what I'm talking about. So if I had done the tack down a little bit earlier, I would have pushed the fabric up. But then it's come to a close, so I will change it, cut down the fabric, and get ready for the next step. Most of the embroidery machines will cut the strings, but because I always pull my thread through to the top, and now as you can see it's already been cut off. Now I'm just going to take off this water soluble and leave it on the top. Make sure that it's still on top of the eyes, because now it's going to do the embroidery part. And when it does the embroidery part, this water soluble makes it so that the embroidery doesn't stick all the way down into the fabric. So I think this is doing the outside. So it's doing the outside satin stitch. That's what it's doing right now. So as you can see, it's still a little bit of water soluble stuck to there. And like I said, it washes away with water, so wasn't too much worried about it. I just wanted to make sure that the eyepiece gets completely covered with that satin stitch. Definitely gonna have to watch it on the other side. Yeah, see, it's getting a little the fuzz, but I'm definitely have to watch on the other side just because of how low it was down when I had placed it. So, yep, sometimes I stop my machine to, fix little errors and things like that I see as it's sewing, because once it's done, once the embroidery's on there, it's on there. So if there's extra fuzz or anything outside of the satin stitch, then it's going to show on the mask. And sometimes obviously you're not going to be able to get all of it just because of how floofy it is. But here it is done. The eyes are tacked down and you can see them clearly. That's the elastic that I'm going to use. It's a baby soft yarn fabric, or cotton fabric actually. And
stitch the place mark, so I know
I'll put that on the inside. It's going to usually run a stitch on the sides. The designers do a stitch on the sides, a placement stitch, so you know where to put your elastic. So what I'm doing is
and that'll be
figuring out the right way to have the satin, because obviously it's going to flip out, so I don't want the dull side showing, because the elastic has a shiny side and a dull side. So with the shiny side, when I flip it out, showing, but I also want it flip the elastic laid down the right way so it's not all curled and wrinkled by the time I'm done. So figured it out. And as you can see, it's all done. Both sides are stitched to it, and now I'm just laying the top fabric over it. Once I get that on, I'll probably trim that down just a little bit and do the final stitching for this. Now, like I said, this only does the outline of the mask, and that's why I actually usually tape down the sides as I'm tacking it down, and then this will go all the way around and leave a small opening at the top where I can put the whole mask through, fold it in, and then I can hand sew it, or I can actually take it to my machine and sew it. But normally with projects like this, I just go ahead and hand sew it, because I only get like 3 or 4 orders at a time when it comes to this, so I'm not worried about putting it on the machine and having it sew down. If you hand sew it, I can ladder stitch it, and it'll be an invisible stitch on the inside. Now right now I'm holding down the fabric because it started to move. This is where it gets a little thick, and as you see, this is the end part, and it does like a little end stitch to let you know it's finished. I usually stop it before this point or delete it out the design, but it's just so that the machine knows it's done. So here I am unhooking it, and I'm about to unhoop it, cut it off the excess fabric, and flip it out, and then hand sew it. There's an opening right there at the top, and it's been sewed all the way around pretty good. Obviously that's the inside. Now I will release the paper on the back of the design. Yes, so I take the paper off the back. It's just a tearaway paper I use for embroidery. And I usually use a tearaway just because I also wanted to have a soft feel and not have like a crinkly feel on the inside. I could use permanent or whatever, but I will take all that stuff off because once it's flipped out, you have a nice soft design. on your face without all that stiffness inside of it and stuff. And I know most people like satin or whatever, but the fleece is actually really comfortable. So here I've already flipped it out. I'm just tearing off that water soluble over the eyes. As you can see, it is, well, you can't really see, but you see it's puffed up outside, so it did its job. So I'm very excited about it. And because she ordered penguins, I decided to put some little stickers in there with her bag. So here's me printing out a sheet of the stickers to put in there just as a thank you for her. I'm going to use my Cricut, I keep calling it Express, but my Cricut Extra, Joy Extra, and cut these out and add them to the bag. They cut out pretty simple, and it's just, like I said, just a little thank you gift to say, you know, we appreciate your order and stuff. And she got the kids and adult size, what you call it, but as you can see, it cut out beautifully. So I'm just going to just drop all of these right into the bag. Thank you for